Let's continue discussing the 4 principles of Yin and Yang and its application to medicine. The opposition of Yin Yang is reflected in medicine in the opposing Yin Yang structures of the human body, the opposing Yin Yang characters of the organs, and most of all, the opposing symptomatology of Yin and Yang. No matter how complicated, all symptoms and signs in Chinese medicine can be reduced to the elemental basic character of Yin or Yang. In order to interpret the character of the clinical manifestations in terms of Yin Yang, we can refer to certain basic qualities which will guide us in clinical practice. These are: fire is the Yang, water is Yin, heat is Yang, while cold is Yin, restless is Yang, quiet is Yin, dry is Yang, while wet is Yin, hard is Yang, while soft is Yin. Excitement is Yang, while inhibition is Yin, rapidity is Yang, slowness is Yin, non-substantial is Yang, while substantial is Yin, and transformation and change is Yang, while conservation, storage, and sustainment is Yin. Now let's talk about fire and water. This is one of the fundamental dualities of Yin Yang in Chinese medicine. Although these terms derive from the 5-element theory, there is an interaction between that and the theory of Yin Yang. The balance between fire and water in the body is crucial. Fire is essential to all physiological processes. It represents the flame that keeps alive and stokes all metabolic processes. Fire, the physiological fire, assists the heart in its function of housing the mind or the Shen. It provides the warmth necessary to the spleen to transform and transport. It stimulates the small intestine function of separation. It provides the heat necessary to the bladder and lower burner to transform and excrete fluids. And it provides the heat necessary for blood moving. If the physiological fire declines, the mind will suffer with depression. The spleen cannot transform and transport. The small intestine cannot separate the fluids. The bladder and lower burner cannot excrete the fluids, and there will be edema, and the uterus turns cold, which may cause infertility. This physiological fire is called the fire of the gate of life, or the Minwen, and derives from the kidneys. On a clinical note, the physiological fire of the body is essential to all physiological processes and to the mind. Deficiency of the physiological fire will cause depression. It is stimulated by using moxa on kidney 3 and 4. Water has the function of moistening and cooling during all the body's physiological functions to balance the warming action of the physiological fire. The origin of water is also from the kidneys. Thus, the balance between fire and water is fundamental to all physiological processes of the body. Fire and water balance and keep a check on each other in every single physiological process. When fire gets out of hand and becomes excessive, it has a tendency to flow upwards. Hence, the manifestation will show on the top part of the body and head, with headaches, red eyes, red face, or thirsts. When water becomes excessive, it has a tendency to flow downwards, causing edema of the legs, excessive urination, or incontinence. Now let's go to heat and cold. Excessive Yang is manifested with heat, and excessive Yin is manifested with cold. For example, a person with excessive Yang will feel hot, and one with excessive Yin will tend to feel always cold. The hot and cold character can also be observed in certain signs themselves. For example, a large single boil that is red and hot to the touch indicates heat. A lower back area very cold to the touch indicates cold in the kidneys. Thank you for your attention.